King of TV Bowling, capturing footage of the tri-state area's best bowling, where you could be our next featured champion. Good evening, King Show fans. Vic Amon here for another edition of the King of TV Bowling Throwback Thursday. Tonight's TBT matchup comes to you from historical Loveland Lanes in Loveland, Ohio. We're going to have Jim Vetter face off against Tim Sharp in a classic. But before that match, let's head laneside where Steve Fiziak and Dave Newrath give you the breakdown of the 1984 King of Kings tournament. Oh, and by the way, did we mention former President George Bush? Honorary guest takes the spill in this one. Stay tuned for that footage, folks.
Dave Newrath saw the qualifying action yesterday, and it was fantastic right here at Loveland Lanes. Let's take a look.
Yesterday at Loveland Lanes, the scene of our 1984 roll-off to find our king for this year. All the contestants that you've seen here on BPA. King of Bowling, this man, D. Hall, was the leader. 1368. Brilliant shooting all day. Right behind him, Earl Weatherford, finishing with a blaze. His last three games, 689 for our second spot on today's show. Jim Vetter, in and out of the top 10 all day long, finishing total 1348, and we're going to see him in our first match. Against this man, Tim Sharp, finishing with a strong 701 for a 1333 series. Greg Lothian in fourth position all day long needs this strike to make the show. Falling just 4 pins short, 199 his last game. You remember this face? Rick Hensley, our 1983 champion from Delfair Lanes, edging out Bill Heflin by 1 pin. Many of the members of the field didn't fare too well, but everyone cashed today. 34 men competing for the right to appear on today's show. D. Hall, Earl Weatherford, Jim Vetter, Tim Sharp, all of which we'll be seeing today, one of which will be leaving with a check for $1,800. And should one of those contestants bowl a perfect 300 game today, on behalf of the BPA and the Hootapole Brewing Company, $10,000 will be presented for a perfect game. Big and small, short and tall, everyone had a good time. Some people fared a little better than others. And our guest, celebrity guest, didn't do too well. Vice President George Bush didn't fare too well, but we all had fun. And
I think we're going to have to wait for George Bush to cash his check a little bit east of us in Washington, D.C.
Well, George didn't qualify, needless to say, but we had a great time here yesterday at Loveland, and I think today we're going to have a great time too, Steve. Big games.
Coming up, Tim Sharp against Jim Vetter. That's next on the BPA King of Bowling. $100 first prize. Again, Jim Vetter against Tim Sharp here in the opener. Jim Vetter will lead the way. He's just 22 years old. His bowling average is 201. We were talking about 300 games. This is the only man who is still looking for his first 300 game in his career. He's 3 shy of that at a 297. Opens by leaving 2.
Opening the match with the 2-5, Steve. It's a typical leave for a light pocket shot. It means you're in the area, but you just didn't quite get there.
Picks up the spare, and you hear the applause as we'll now move to Tim Sharp. We saw him earlier, just about a month ago, and he was bowling very well at that time.
You know, was that at Seymour Lanes, a house that Tim Sharp always bowls well in. He's here today to prove that it's not just a one-house bowler, that's for sure. The identical leave there, Steve. In addition to the 2-5, Tim also has the 4-pin. The 4-pin in this case is not the tough pin at all. The trouble is chopping the 2 off of the 5 sometimes.
These bowlers have had just a little bit of weight this morning, perhaps anxious to get going. Well, Jim Vetter and Jim Sharp pick up their spares, and we are tied after 1.
Tim Sharp filled the second, third, and fourth frames with marks, while Jim Vetter opened in the second and third, opening the door. We now rejoin action in the fourth frame. More direct. And it worked.
Exactly what you talked about. He did. He didn't hook it as much. Went right to the right of the head pin, and as you would say, every pin doing its job.
That's right, Stephen. Excellent adjustment. It had to be made. Before he was arcing the ball out to about the 8th board. This, much more direct line, perfectly in the pocket. Every pin just looking for a place to get out of the way of his ball. Let's see if he can parlay it into a double. He's got to have it to get going.
Leaves just the one, but again, he was going for the more direct approach, and it's interesting that you should pick that up, and Jim picked that up just as well because he was sweeping that hook into start, and all of a sudden flattens out his game, and you can see the success.
Yeah, he's going to have more success with that now. He's going to have to fine-tune it a little bit also, but he's got much better chance with that than he did with the other style of delivery, that's for sure.
Well, we see a great deal of polish, of poise, and also a thinking man's game right there to make the adjustment and to make it successful and to be able to adjust.
Let's see if Tim Sharp can also make the adjustment, because he likewise has been going light. He has.
Tim perhaps taking the instruction from Jim Vetter, seeing the success, coming back with the strike, and as you talked about, the adjustment right here.
You can see it here again. He was looping the ball out considerably more than he was. 9th board. This ball holding tight right around the 12th board. Now going into a great roll. That's a perfect strike. Absolutely perfect. 10 pins in the pit, Steve.
He's had 3 300 games in his career. Again, he flattens it out. And again, he drives it through, and like Jim Vetter on his second opportunity after making the adjustment, he will leave 1 pin.
Well, now both players have to fine-tune their shot on the left lane next time, both of which look comfortable on the right lane. Tim Sharp going a little high with his release, possibly even make an adjustment off of Jim Vetter's delivery, Steve. Seeing that Jim moved inside, went more direct, perfect on the right lane, and then going light on the left lane, perhaps he adjusted himself and then went a little high.
Just did catch it, and Jim kind of smiled at him, saying, I thought that was going to go straight right on by.
This is great here. From the floor, we're watching the ball roll over. Revolutions, you hear us talking about it all the time. There it is in action. You actually see the ball rolling over.
You think those things are easy to knock over. Dave and I were in the back watching the machines turn over, and we were talking about the fact that each pin must weigh between 3.2 and 3.8.
Yeah, 3 pounds 2 ounces, and the legal limit is considerably up there, but 3 pounds 2 ounces is the lowest any of the pins can weigh.
Well, that is the second open frame that Jim Vetter has, but I understand the ABC is trying to make it one formula, like a 3-5, 3-6 pin.
Yeah, standardization. 84 for Jim, having his trouble today. Open frames will kill you. We're always talking about that. Concentration. Get up. There you go. There you go. That'll loosen him up.
Jimbo came back gleaming on that one. Jim Sharp.
Let's take a look at it here. He's going to trust this shot. He is going to go into a roll here. Now the ball, head pin, going to the wall, center your screens, coming off, really going to do some damage. Last pin out of there, the 2 pin. Jim Vetter. Hopefully can get started here.
That was perfect.
Tim Sharp is not going to wait around for anybody, and I think he's going to go now.
Again, he's a young man who's really been working at his game. He said he bowled between 10, 15 times this week, just gearing up for this. And then, of course, the qualifying yesterday right here at Loveland. He, too, performed perfectly, and now must contain the pressure that is being applied from Jim Vetter.
More speed. More speed, and it paid off.
Was able to drop that 7, and that was the final pin to fall.
Let's take a look at it here. He went with more speed. He went high before. Now this ball holds the line, goes into a roll. Again, the head pin doing most of the work, coming off the wall, throwing the 4 pin into the 5, and then taking out the 7. Jim Vetter has to start striking. And we'll take one over there.
Over on the Brooklyn side, he sweeps across, but it reacted perfectly as the head pin swept to the right.
He's happy, but concerned. He knows that that was not a really good shot, even though he got a great break. Jim has to continue to throw strikes the rest of this game to keep the pressure on. He's 34 pins down right now with 2 frames to go. Brooklyn again, maybe?
That was heavy. And it leaves the 6 and 10. Should be an easy spare.
We can see it here on the replay. Steve, he's not happy with the shot when it lets go. The ball is going to cross over, but not enough to strike. Just enough to leave him a spare, and it's just about over.
Vetter does pick it up easily. And he continues to move on. Tim Sharp with right now.
Well, I tell you what, though, $500 isn't too bad. He's 34 pins down. His opponent has a double working. It's next to impossible to break down the lead at this time. It's all over.
Sweeps him aside, and Tim Sharp contains that lead and pads it just a bit. He has been there before. He can handle the pressure. He's been on the King of Bowling show in 1977, 1979, 1981, 1983, and now his 5th year, 1984, trying to win that big trophy and that $1,800 first prize.
Mathematically, Stephen, it's all over.
That certainly helps things.
He's getting lined up for the next game. He knows that things are going to get tougher. He knows that he's going to meet this man right here, Earl Weatherford.
You talk about, if we're talking about comedians, classic funny guys on the tour, it'd have to be Earl Weatherford, always with the quick line. I asked him about Jim Vetter's game. I said, what is his weakness? And he says, when I drop the ball on his foot.
That'd be something to bother anybody. Well, $500 for Jim Vetter, super young bowler. He's going to be around for a lot of years, and next year we'll see him season just a little bit more, learn just a little bit more, and he'll be back, no doubt in my mind. Keeping score for us today, Greg Lothian. Tough break yesterday. I was out here watching all the boys bowl, and Greg probably threw the ball as well as anybody. Just could not finish quite strong enough to appear on the telecast, but Greg is another great young bowler that I'm high on. He finished 5th, $250. Tom Cushman finished 6th, $150. Just a few pins behind. And there's Chris Woods, $100. Terry Ciccone, $100 for 8th. Rick Hensley, $95, and so on and so on. Everybody made money yesterday.
Well, Jim will be able to pick up his check today, but he will watch as Tim Sharp will continue on in our BPA King of Bowling Final Series Championship against Earl Weatherford in our next game. But Vetter again must close it out here. A chance at a
170. Poor Jim. 160 something, but that's fine. He's a good bowler. He'll be back.
Indeed. And we will come back with our next game. Tim Sharp against Earl Weatherford.
This week's King of TV Bowling Throwback Thursday has been brought to you by CheapBowlingBalls.com. The only thing that's cheap is our low prices. White Oak Auto Care, family owned and operated for over 30 years. Give them a call today at 513-741-1300 for all your automotive needs. If your business would like to get involved with our sponsorship programs, give us a call today at 513-967-8796. Folks, you can check out all this great action on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Log on to kingotvbowling.com for more information. Thanks for viewing, everyone. Until next time.